For years, we've dreamed of stepping into Tony Stark's armor, feeling repulsors blast from our palms, soaring through clouds at supersonic speeds, and having an entire arsenal at our fingertips. Previous games have only given us glimpses of this fantasy, but EA Motive isn't just making another Iron Man game. They're promising to deliver something we've never truly experienced before: the sensation of actually becoming the Armored Avenger. But the question is, can they finally deliver where everyone else has failed?
Is that a joke? Did Thor make a joke?
Now that we've established why this game matters so much to Iron Man fans like myself, let's start with the facts. What do we actually know about EA Motive's Iron Man game? Announced back in 2022, this single-player, third-person action-adventure is being built from the ground up with Unreal Engine 5. While we haven't seen any gameplay yet, EA has confirmed its original story, not tied to the MCU or any specific comic run. The development team is being led by Olivier Proulx, who previously worked on Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy along with industry veterans Ian Frazier, Maëlenn Lemong, and JF Poirier. This is promising information, as Guardians was praised for its character work and storytelling, two elements that will be crucial for capturing Tony Stark's complexity. In their initial announcement, Motive emphasized their goal to deliver a game that channels the complexity, charisma, and creative genius of Tony Stark, while making players feel what it's like to truly play as Iron Man. That's a bold promise, especially considering how difficult it's been for previous games to capture the unique feeling of piloting the armor. Job listings have given us additional hints, suggesting an open-world structure with non-linear dialogue, pointing toward a sandbox experience similar to Insomniac's Spider-Man games. This makes sense for Iron Man, whose mobility and range would benefit from a large playground. EA Motive has been relatively quiet since the initial announcement, but the studio recently confirmed that they've hit a major internal milestone in development. Patrick Klaus, Motive's general manager, has reassured fans that despite some team members moving to support the Battlefield franchise, Iron Man remains an important priority. But the real question isn't just what the game is, it's what it needs to be. And that brings us to the important question. What does it actually mean to feel like Iron Man? Unlike Spider-Man, whose powers are an extension of his body, or Batman, whose gadgets complement his martial prowess, Iron Man's entire identity is wrapped up in his technology. Tony Stark isn't just wearing the suit, in many ways, he is the suit. This creates unique challenges for gameplay design. The Iron Man experience has to nail three distinct elements. First, flight mechanics that capture both precision and power. Iron Man doesn't just hover or glide, he fights physics with explosive bursts of energy. His movement should feel both mechanical yet graceful, a contrast negotiation between thrust, gravity, and momentum. Second, combat that blends melee and ranged attacks in a way that feels distinctly Iron Man. From repulsor blasts to unibeam strikes, missile barrages to ground-pounding landings, the suit is essentially a walking arsenal, and the game needs to make all these options feel natural and impactful. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, the game needs to capture Tony Stark himself. The genius, the ego, the vulnerability beneath the armor. Without the man, the Iron is just another mech suit. Previous games have struggled to balance these elements. Marvel's Avengers captured some of Tony's ground combat potential but failed to translate his aerial capabilities. Iron Man VR came closest to nailing the flight experience but was limited by its platform and scope. EA Motive has the opportunity and the challenge of bringing all these elements together for the very first time.
The world needs Iron Man.
To understand how Motive might overcome these challenges though, it's worth looking at their other success stories. If there's one thing the gaming industry has learned in recent years, it's that superhero games work best when they understand what makes their protagonists special. Insomniac's Spider-Man succeeded because it recognized that movement is at the core of the Spider-Man fantasy. The satisfying momentum of web swinging through New York wasn't just a way to get from mission to mission. It was the foundation that the entire game was built upon. The Arkham series thrived by understanding that Batman is defined by his preparation, his stealth, and his ability to instill fear. The Predator sequences weren't just stealth sections, they were the purest expression of what it means to be the Dark Knight. For Iron Man to succeed, Motive needs to identify the equivalent core fantasy. Is it the technical improvisation, the sensation of flight, the feeling of being simultaneously vulnerable and yet invincible? Based on what little we've seen, it seems that they recognize this challenge. The focus on making players truly feel like Iron Man suggests that they are approaching the character with the right mindset, asking the fundamental question, what makes Iron Man Iron Man? Of course, understanding the core fantasy is just the first step. The structure that delivers that fantasy matters just as much. The job listings mentioned earlier, open world and non-linear dialogue, raise interesting possibilities and potential concerns. On one hand, an open world seems perfect for Iron Man. The freedom to fly anywhere, to rocket between skyscrapers or soar above the clouds could be exhilarating in the right hands. Looking at how Insomniac used New York City as Spider-Man's playground, we can imagine a similar approach working very well for Iron Man. But open worlds come with risks. Too many repetitive activities, collectibles, and uninspired side missions could dilute the experience. We've seen this happen in games like Assassin's Creed Valhalla or Mafia 3, where the world feels large, but hollow. For Iron Man to avoid this trap, Motive needs to prioritize quality over quantity. Rather than filling the map with generic tasks, they should focus on creating meaningful side content that enhances the story and showcases the different aspects of the Iron Man experience. And most importantly, like Spider-Man's web swinging, the simple act of flying as Iron Man needs to be so inherently satisfying that traversing the open world never becomes a chore. If Motive can capture the thrill of flight, the speed, the agility, the raw power, then even basic exploration could become a highlight rather than a burden.
They've got pulsar tanks.
An open world also gives us the playground, but what about the toys? One of Iron Man's defining characteristics is his constant innovation. Unlike heroes with a single iconic costume, Tony Stark is always building new armors, each with unique capabilities and designs. This represents a natural opportunity for player progression and customization. Think about it. Imagine a game where you don't just unlock suits as cosmetics, but as meaningful gameplay options with distinct advantages and drawbacks. Need to infiltrate a secure facility? Switch to the stealth-oriented Mark 15 sneaky armor with its sound-dampening and enhanced sensor suit. Maybe you're facing a heavily armored enemy. The Hulkbuster might be your best bet. Each suit could fundamentally change how you approach situations, creating genuine replay value as you experiment with different combinations of armors and challenges. This approach would help tap into what makes Iron Man unique amongst superheroes, his adaptability. While Spider-Man and Batman generally approach problems with these same core abilities, Iron Man can completely retool himself for different situations. A game that embraces this aspect of the character could offer a depth of gameplay beyond what we've seen in other superhero titles. Now, all these gameplay ideas demand significant technical horsepower, which brings us to the engine powering this Iron Vision. EA Motive's choice to build Iron Man in Unreal Engine 5 speaks to their technical ambitions. The next generation features of UE5, particularly Nanite for detailed geometry and Lumen for dynamic global illumination, seem tailor-made for Iron Man's visually striking world. Imagine repulsor blasts illuminating environments in real time, armor plates reflecting the world around them with photorealistic accuracy, or particles cascading off the suit as you break the sound barrier. These aren't just visual flourishes, they're essential to selling the fantasy of being a man in a high-tech flying armor. The studio's presentation at GDC on revolutionizing texture pipelines suggests they're pushing the technical boundaries even further. Based on what we've seen with their Dead Space remake, Motive has the technical chops to deliver a visually stunning experience. But the real technical challenge isn't just making Iron Man look good, it's making him feel good. The physics of flight, the weight of the armor, the impact of blasts and strikes, these tactile elements will ultimately determine whether players truly feel like they're inside the suit. The technical foundation appears solid, but technology alone doesn't make a great game. So, where does this leave us? Without gameplay footage or a release window, it is far too early to make any definitive judgments about EA Motive's Iron Man game. But what we do have is potential that exceeds any previous attempt to bring this character to gaming. The studio's experience with Dead Space demonstrates their ability to handle beloved properties with care and technical expertise. Their work on Star Wars Squadrons shows they understand flight mechanics and how to make complex vehicle controls accessible. And the involvement of veterans from Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy suggests that they recognize the importance of character and story in bringing superheroes to life. If they can apply these strengths to Iron Man, capturing that unique sensation of flight, the versatility of the suit's weaponry, and the complexity of Tony Stark himself, they could deliver not just a great Iron Man game, but a defining superhero experience. After years of watching Iron Man play second fiddle in the gaming world, it is time for the Armored Avenger to take center stage. The technology is ready. The audience is waiting. Now, it's up to EA Motive to prove that, like Tony Stark himself, they can turn ambitious dreams into a spectacular reality. But what do you think about EA Motive's Iron Man game? What features would you most want to see in the game? Let us know down in the comment section below. And if you're excited about upcoming superhero games, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We'll be covering every development as we learn more about this project and others like it.